Hello everyone and welcome to another royal reading. And my goodness, this month, merry month of March, has got off to quite a wild start, and the energy certainly that is out there swirling around at the moment is shaking things up, and situations that were stagnant, whether it's in the royal world or in our little world, that stagnant energy has been shaken up quite radically. Shaken up for the Harkles, because my goodness, who would have thought that King Charles would evict them from Frognomore cottage? But that seemingly is what has happened. The Sun broke the news. The Sun newspaper broke the story this morning. It sounded a bit mad, to be quite honest, that they'd been evicted, and that the property had been offered to Prince Andrew, scaled down from the Royal Lodge, a vast mansion that he currently lives in, scaled down to Frognomore Cottage. It's within that ring of steel, so free security while he's there. It's just been refurbished, and not a bad offer when you are Prince Andrew and you are allegedly broke and in quite bad odor all around the block. But Harry and Meghan out, handed their eviction notice. Everyone was thinking, not sure about that, but Omid Scobie came out and confirmed it. Omid said that Harry and Meghan are stunned by what seems to be very final and cruel punishment, and it's as if the family want to cut them out for good. What a surprise. Release a docuseries, write spare, and then demand an apology. And what a surprise when the family turns around and says, no, well, actually, no apology forthcoming, but actually, you're evicted. Ordinary people might expect something like that. Consequences. Ordinary people do appreciate that there are consequences for behavior like the Harkles have exhibited. But not the Harkles, apparently. They were out and about last night. First of all, we had Meghan with her clever brand, and we wondered what that was all about. And then suddenly they burst on the scene on a date night. Haven't seen them together for months and months and months. But there they were at the San Vicente bungalows. Super private celeb hangout, but they were packed mysteriously and even miraculously by Backgrid on a wild and rainy night out on the west coast. A terrible night to drive 2 hours to have dinner and then turn around and drive 2 hours home, unless you were trying perhaps to deflect from a story that you knew was going to break within a few hours and reflect very badly on you. And I know that you like me to get to the cards, but we have to cover what was going on, and that's what's going on. And the cards in question today are the Wandering Star Tarot, because it turns out that yet again the Harkles, the Wandering Harkles, are homeless. They've been homeless a few times before. They had to flee to Canada and rely on the kindness of strangers. Then they had to flee to California and rely on the kindness of someone they'd never met, Tyler Perry and Oprah. And now they are homeless in the UK. There will be consequences. We won't look at those consequences today. Tax consequences, Council of State consequences, security consequences, IPP consequences, that security case, that judicial review proceedings against the British government. Consequences for all of that. We're not going to look at that today. We are going to do a Celtic cross today from the Harkles' point of view. The stunned Harkles. See how stunned they are, how bad this is for them. How the mood was really at that date night. Meghan had her usual rictus grin on. She looked super skinny. Ozempic skinny, some people say. Very skinny. Harry looked his usual jolly self. Perhaps a bit medicated. Did they not see this coming? That really is the telling question for me. And what impact is this going to have on their attendance at the coronation? How do they each really feel about this? And what impact is it going to have on them as a couple? We're going to look at the royals in the next reading, William and King Charles. And we're going to have a look at that. One more shuffle, get the Celtic cross out, and let's see what's going on. Big story, this. And Wandering Star Tarot, pack the cards in. I think we're good to go. Let's see what the cards want to tell us about the strange twist in the never-ending story of the Harkles and their war with the British royals, because it does seem like a war. And as I set the cards out on the tarot table, let's remind you, this is just a tarot reading for entertainment purposes, all speculation, all just my opinion, all energy. Read on the royals because they are archetypal, and there is, of course, a disclaimer in the box below. And we do this for entertainment, we do this for fun, and we do this basically because we can learn from what is going on with the royals. And we have the King of Wands in reverse as the underlying energy of this reading. King of Wands in reverse, it's a PR blow for them. They were the ones that thought that they were in charge with this whole narrative, with this demand for an apology. You can write any old abuse in a book and really hurt people, reveal very private things, and risk people's security as well, do all kinds of things allegedly that Harry has done, and Meghan also, with the docuseries and the podcast, throw hurl insults towards the royals. And what a surprise when, instead of controlling the narrative as the King of Wands does, you find yourself on the back foot and you find yourself homeless. And what a surprise. As I say, there are consequences to these attacks, and the consequences are bad, negative publicity, negative PR, and finding yourself actually powerless, finding yourself, because a King of Wands in reverse is powerless, is a very angry energy, is a very thwarted energy, is an energy that nobody wants to follow because it's so toxic and aggressive and unpleasant. And that is what we're dealing with according to the energy of these cards, and in my opinion. Tell us the situation for the stunned Harkles. What was it? Page of Cups in reverse, and that card is quite amusing because the Page of Cups upright is the classic apology card. There is the fish in the cup offering something to someone and offering an apology, but they did not get their apology. They got something else instead. They got bad news. They got very negative news. Pages are communications, they are news. And so instead of that apology, which would have been the Page of Cups upright, they got, we're done, we're finished with you. Because the message that is very clear is that Harry and Meghan are done in the UK. And this is the final and cruel punishment. It's as if the family wanted to cut them out for good. That is Page of Cups in reverse. Don't love you anymore, not interested, go away. How bad is this for Harry and Meghan? The obstacle, the crossing card in this Celtic cross. How bad is it for them? It's a Wheel of Fortune. A Wheel of Fortune is generally a very positive card, but in this context, it's a sudden swing, a reversal of fortune. Even though this card has come out in the upright, I cannot read this as positive. I can only read it as, this is a surprise, it came out of the blue. For me, this Wheel of Fortune almost has a tower energy to it. A very similar card. It's something that's unforeseen, that shifts things. And I was saying in my preamble to this reading that the energy is extremely volatile, that things that were stagnant are going to be shaken now. That's tower energy, that's Uranus transits, it's that kind of thing. Wheel of Fortune is something that's turned on its head. A turning point in your life. It's very public, it's very noticeable. It could, these kinds of events could be a blessing in disguise at some level. It could unlock something. It could even unlock a toxic relationship. Just my opinion, and of course this whole reading is my opinion, speculating here. It might have some unforeseen consequences that when someone looks back, they think, well, that was a critical moment in my life when things change. It's possible. But right now, it's just a question of timing. The Wheel of Fortune is very much about timing, divine timing. And this must have been planned a while ago, a few months ago at least, because allegedly the decision was made within days of Spare being published. That was January. But we're hearing about it now at the beginning of March. And so it's about timing. And this timing somehow for the Harkles is going to be what the problem is, the issue with them. They let Harry do all of his PR and his interviews and all the rest of it, maximize the Spare thing, possibly even dig a deeper and deeper hole for himself. And then along came this Wheel of Fortune. You gambled. You gambled and you lost, I'm being told to say. For what it's worth, that's not a negative card. But as I say in the context, it's potentially very negative or very positive, depending on how they decide to react to this news. I'm losing my voice. And I think possibly a lot of shouting and a lot of screaming has left some quite hoarse voices way over in California. My speculation. We're getting down now to the beneath energy, the motives, and the what's going on behind the scenes energy in this Celtic cross. Sorry, a little bit of sunlight falling across the table as I'm doing this reading. I hope it doesn't interfere too much with what you can see with the light. African sun. But I want to know what the mood was really like last night on that date night that the Harkles drove through wind and rain to be pepped at, what a surprise, they were pepped at that celeb hangout that allegedly is run by Soho House. I did not know that, but apparently there is a connection there. What was the mood really like? We saw the Rectus grin, we saw happy carefree Harry. What was really going on? Please tell us, universe, with the Wandering Star Tarot. The devil lies anger, toxicity, perhaps narcotics and substances involved, addictions. Remember, some people are speculating that Harry was quite medicated, quite out of it. Meghan had that grin on her face, but it was a very tight grin, could mask real anger. I'm speculating, I'm not diagnosing, I'm not a mental health expert at all. But there you are, you've got a toxic situation, you've got a couple tied together, and I see this always. The devil normally in Rider-Waite talks about a couple, or shows a couple that is chained to the devil, literally. And so it can be addictions, it can be obsessions, it can be sort of adult behavior. We won't get too explicit because the machine doesn't like those kinds of words. But you know what I mean. But anyway, there is the couple that's chained together. They are stuck, they are tied together by their behavior as a result of their toxic behavior, as a result of their possible lies, their accusations, their rage, their obsessions, their mischief making. That's what the devil does. He makes mischief, and they find themselves now stuck together. And I see this constantly in the readings that I do on the royals, that Harry and Meghan are at some level stuck with each other. They may not like it, but they are. And that devil tells me that this is a very uncomfortable energy. It's not fun being chained to the devil. It may be in the beginning, but later on, you might pay a price for the fun that you had while you were chained to the devil. What is their focus right now? What are they trying to do? And they are with the Chariot, and they're trying to just drive through this. They're trying to drive forward. They literally were in a chariot when we saw them. They were getting out of a chariot. Chariot is forward movement, is ambition, is positive steps, taking action, doing something, moving the story forward. They want to move this forward. They want to get out of this situation as fast as they can and focus our attention somewhere else. They want to focus our attention on what a happy couple they are. They're out for their date night. Harry has his big deal with, what's his face? The trauma guy, Gabor Mate. He's got that over the weekend. They're going to try and divert our attention onto those positives and leave the story behind. But they're going to struggle to leave the story behind. That is what they want. It's not necessarily what they're going to get, that Chariot card. They're pulling themselves out of the mud, basically. They need something really powerful, a really powerful engine to drag them out of the mess that they're in right now, where they've got stuck. And I keep talking stuck energy. It feels to me that we're dealing with people stuck with the devil here, and trying to drag themselves out of this trouble that they've got themselves into. I'm not sure how that's going to go. We'll probably read on that in the next few days. But for now, we're sitting with this Frognomore cottage situation. And of course, we're going to hear all about it as in the run-up to the coronation, because that's where they were going to stay. That's where Archie was going to have his birthday party, allegedly, where Lilibet allegedly had her first birthday party. Where are they going to have the birthday party now? Some people are being very unkind and suggesting they have it at a Pizza Express nearby. So, as I said, this is for entertainment purposes, this reading, and all the readings on my channel are for entertainment purposes. Let us entertain ourselves further by looking at the past. And how did the Harkles think the royals were going to react? They say they are stunned at this final and cruel punishment. They wanted the apology, they got final and cruel punishment. Did they not see this coming in the past? Three of Pentacles. No, they were so busy with their deals, with their money-making rackets, with their collaborations with Netflix and Spotify and Penguin Random House and Better Up and all the rest of it. They were so busy monetizing themselves with that Three of Pentacles that they didn't think about the consequences. Isn't that absolutely amazing? These are two grown adults. These are people. Meghan is well into her 40s now. Harry is approaching his 40s. You should by now have some sense. They should, not you. You all have a lot of sense. They should have got some sense by now and realized that hatred and attacks have consequences. But seemingly, my speculation, both of them, up until this point in their lives, have got away with not literal murder, but figurative murder. There have been no consequences. They did not see that there would be consequences. Truly did not foresee this. They have been so protected. They have been so sheltered from their bad behavior, in my opinion, that didn't expect this at all. What impact is this going to have on their attendance at the coronation? I did a reading on the coronation again yesterday. It looked to me then that Meghan was not going to go and that Harry would go but sort of drag his heels and look sour, that lip turned down sulky face that we've seen quite a lot of. What impact is this breaking news going to have on attendance at the coronation? Nowhere to stay, might have to stay at the Holiday Inn at Heathrow. I don't even know if there's a Holiday Inn at Heathrow, but what is going to happen? And we got the Four of Pentacles in reverse. That's the loss of control card, the kicked out card. This card came up in readings yesterday. I can't remember which one specifically, but I got the Four of Pentacles in reverse. In the sense of losing control. This is what this King of Wands who's been sitting quietly on the sidelines is about. Losing control of the narrative, of the PR. The royals, with a one fell swoop, have pulled the rug out. I'm mixing metaphors terribly, but they've pulled the rug out from under the Harkles with this breaking story. They really have. I sound a bit like Neil Shaw now talking about breaking news. I don't normally use that expression. But they really have. The Harkles were all on track with their narrative, and then, oops, no, everybody's now talking about the fact that the Harkles are homeless. So they have lost control with the Four of Pentacles in reverse. They've been destabilized, they've been unsettled, stunned is the word that Omid Scobie used. I wonder who wrote that article actually for him. Just speculating, but they really are stunned. They really are thrown by this. Maybe even thrown out of that comfortable place that the Four of Pentacles upright represents. It represents Stability, it represents security. It's a bit of a hanging on for dear life energy, the Four of Pentacles. Stagnant energy, again, that's a recurring theme in this reading, and when the card is in the reverse, it's a bit like the Death card. It's a surprise, it's an ending, it's a change that you don't foresee. You're forced to let go of something. It might be the end for has-been. He might not be able to show up as a result of this. He's not got his apology. He is not going to get security. He's going to have to stay at the Holiday Inn and bring his own hired guns, and very uncomfortable for him. William not going to look him in the eye, knowing that his own father has evicted him from his home in the UK. And they're not like us mere mortals who don't have extra homes, and so if you're unhappy with someone, you just have to carry on living with them. Sometimes even after you're divorced, you still have to carry on living with them, but not for the royals. You're out, bye-bye. So individually, how is this playing out? How does Harry really feel about this? As I say, he looked pretty happy yesterday. High Priestess in reverse. Didn't see this coming. High Priestess upright, I'm more and more thinking is his consultations with the people who might be have moved on into a different dimension, shall we just say. The High Priestess is about things like that, mysteries and intuition, and going to psychics and tarot readings, and talking to Mummy in the moon, talking to Meghan, who also Mummy, allegedly, and Mummy didn't warn him about this. Mummy didn't tell him that this was going to happen, a big surprise. And also it's about secrets coming out, and there might be more to this story that we don't know, that he is concerned about coming out. We were very quick to be told that he wanted that ottoman and that chaise-longue returned to him, sent out to him in California, as if there really was furniture in Frognomore cottage, and he and Meghan really did live there together as man and wife. Something that he doesn't want us to know about this. This is not a terrible shock. This is secrets starting to come out. He was very happy to reveal other people's secrets in his book, including Sasha Walpole, but secrets might be starting to just leak, which might be very difficult for him down the line. But also, as I said, my first instinct with that card, the energy that came off at the first moment, was that he wasn't warned about this by the people he trusts. He himself lacks intuition and inner guidance and inner wisdom, the High Priestess upright, that would be. So he lacks that himself, so he looks to others to tell him, to guide him, and to give him messages from wherever. And didn't see this one coming. This was a surprise for him. Really was a surprise for him. High Priestess in reverse. And Meghan, how does Meghan feel about this? And we got the Four of Wands in reverse. And that's a broken home. That's an unhappy. That's losing your home. Literally, the Four of Wands upright is happy home. The happy couple celebrating. It's a marriage card. It's a royal family card because it's the firm. It's the foundation. It's belonging. Kicked out. She knows she's been kicked out of the royal family. Various things. She's literally lost her home. And it might be quite a valuable asset in their joint estate as a married couple. Just saying, just putting that out there. But the Four of Wands lost her home, very unhappy, and iced out of the royal family with that Four of Wands in reverse. For him, it's a bigger deal because we've got a major arcana. For her, I think she'd already gone. She'd already decided she wasn't part of the royal family anymore, except that it's a useful title to have. Duchess of Sussex can monetize it. We don't know. I'm not looking at those kinds of consequences. I'm not looking to see if there's more to come. Titles are going to go. Children taken out of line of succession, that kind of thing. We read on it eternally. But this does seem to be a massive turning point in the Harkles journey with that Wheel of Fortune. It's a turning point in a story. I think she knows that more than he knows it. their hopes and fears for this situation, the Harkles jointly, 10 of Cups in reverse. This is being no longer able to spin the story of we're so happy, we're so prosperous, we are so content with our lot, we're the perfect couple, we're the perfect family, we're perfect, we're perfect in every way, our lives are wonderful. They fear that they're not going to be able to sell that line to people anymore. And that line is very important for them in terms of monetizing themselves. 3 of Pentacles over there. The King of Wands also, which is about PR, it's about selling your story. Also for themselves, because the final question that I have in this reading is what impact is it going to have on them as a couple? The couple that's chained together here. Desire, obsession, fear, shadow, much more than that, addiction, lies, anger in the devil. But 10 of Cups in reverse is that dream, that fantasy, that illusion of happy ever after might be slipping through their fingers, and it's over. It's over. 4 of Wands also over. For Meghan, not over just with the royal family, it could be over for her as a wife as well. So outcome for the Harkles of this rather embarrassing news, rather shocking news, that they have been evicted by King Charles. Ace of Cups, that's an interesting card. They're going to come up with something. They're going to come up with something to try and turn this around. There's the Chariot. Ace of Cups is a pregnancy card. Just saying. Can't evict us. Baby on its way. Might be a story. I've read on this, and there is energy around the story. There is energy. Even though she did not look, in my opinion, pregnant, and we saw her live and in real time, seemingly yesterday, on that date night with Harry. So we might get something like that. We might get a kind of a plea almost, sobbing. Ace of Cups, lots of tears. They might make a big show of togetherness for now, of a new start. It's a fresh start, because I remember I said the Wheel of Fortune, if you play the card right, can actually be extremely beneficial, even when it's in this obstacle kind of position as it is in this Celtic cross. If they played their cards right, they could milk the situation. They could make people feel sorry for them. At the moment, people don't. Their comments wherever I've gone today have been absolutely gleeful. But they could milk the situation. They could say, well, we have love. We've lost our home in the UK. We've been cut off by the cruel royal family, but we still have each other. We're going to renew our vows, just like Ellen and Portia did. And you're going to get something. You're going to get something that might look very cozy, very loved up, very baby number 3 on the way. We might mysteriously lose baby number 3. I'm just speculating based on past experiences with the Harkles. But you're going to get something that might be a bit, might make you feel a bit ill when you see it. Because they're very afraid of this. They're very afraid of this 10 of Cups in the reverse. They're afraid that the whole story is going to fall apart, of they did it for love. They ran away for love. And so we're going to get it forced down our throats, basically, with that Ace of Cups, that they really are so in love, that they've renewed their vows, they're going to have another child. And it doesn't matter what the mean and nasty royals do. So we've got a way to go on this journey. It's a wild ride, and we'll have to wait and see how that Ace of Cups manifests. But yeah, they've got something, they're planning something, some kind of clapback to try and make the royals look bad. Again, you could read the Ace of Cups as an apology, but I'm talking about the two of them and how it's going to impact the two of them as a couple. not their relationship with the royal family. And so that Ace of Cups, definitely they're going to try and make it work before they give up. And pretty normal behavior, but normally not so public. And that is your reading. I'm going to get on now to King Charles and Prince William and see what they had to do with this and how they feel about all of this now.